Good morning, Jubilee, and good morning, Jubilance. Welcome to everyone who's here today, and welcome to all those who are still on their way. While we're gathering and taking in that beautiful view that Daniel provides for us each Sunday morning and his music, let me throw in a few technical notes. This is a time to just remember if you've been here regularly, but if you're new to us or if you haven't been here for a while, a few little tech reminders. We love it when you are willing and able to turn your camera on so we can see you. It feels a little bit more like we're actually in community when we can see all of your bright, shining faces, or even your dull, sleepy faces. Whatever you're bringing today is just exactly perfect. We also remind you that there is a chat box at the bottom. You can click on the chat. You can type to everyone and everyone can see your chat, or you can also type to personal notes to different people during the celebration, especially if you want to send a private prayer note to Jay or Yona or one of the staff during the prayer time. We will save all of that. Do be aware that if you send a private chat to someone, the host who saves the chat will be able to see that. So it's always good to know that private chat is not private to the host. It will be during the meeting, but not afterwards. Just a reminder too that we have you muted at this point, but at the end when we sing For the Beauty of the Earth, we invite all of you to unmute so we can have a wonderful cacophony of singing that creates its own strange beauty. So here we are. Welcome on this Sunday morning. Today we are going to be, as we continue in the Via Creativa for a few more weeks, we are rooting and grounding. And today we will be rooted and grounded in grace. And we're being graced by the presence of Charley Castex, who you'll hear from later today. Rooted and grounded in grace. So, perhaps the earliest experience that some of us have of grace is saying grace over the family meal. Now, maybe that seemed very rote to you if your family did it, just words muttered perfunctorily over the food. Or maybe that act helped you internalize a pause, that moment before you dug into eating, when you just stopped to be grateful, to notice, to become aware that this plate of food had not just appeared in front of you out of nowhere, but that it came from the earth's goodness as a gift, from a provider's earnings, from a nurturer's efforts, a gift, in fact, from God, whatever that word signified to you. If saying grace is as far as we ever get with understanding grace, it may be a bit reductive. On the other hand, if thank you is the only prayer we ever say, maybe that really would suffice, as Meister Eckhart reminded us. That is, if we really give thanks. Thanksgiving from the bottom of our hearts. Thanksgiving from the soles of our feet. Thanksgiving for everything, knowing that everything is here to teach us. Thanksgiving for this moment in time called life on this planet called Earth. Maybe saying grace is a portal into grace, into receiving the gift and making the most of it, into knowing that all shall be well. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Day by day, day by day, oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day by day, day by day by day, day by day by day by day by day.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Laura, for that wonderful introduction and welcome this morning. And it's such a joy to be here today, here in Celebration Space. First time in a long time, and it's something that I feel is graciousness that's working in my life, kind of feeling like a gratitude toward coming full circle in some ways, and feeling like we're overcoming something that we've been toiling to overcome in our lives, whether you call it this the past year being whatever name you want to give to it, or whatever the lessons that we learn within that time, and how Mother Earth and time are gracious with us. And in this time, to appreciate the graciousness of all the ancestors and all of those that, even the ancestors that are alive today in our own hearts, to be in gratitude of all that's being shared with us. So if you will, let's take a deep breath and face with me to the east. Oh, Spirit to the east. We are here in gratitude today to thank you for all that you have given, for the graciousness that you have shown us, even through the times that it was hard for you and all the tears that you shed. We thank you for the graciousness for receiving the light and the love of the Creator so that you might overcome and realize the light in your life. And thank you for graciously sharing those lessons with us. We honor you and we thank you, and we invite you to come celebrate this day with us in a good way, I hope. Face to the south, please. Oh, spirits of the south, to all the gracious beings of the water nations, we thank you. We thank you for your compassion and your kindness and your love. We thank you for your wanting of a better and a brighter future for us, and for watering the seeds and nurturing the earth and the soil that is the foundation of our future. That is the realization of the dreams of our ancestors past. Thank you for helping us to continue to grow that seed. Thank you for continuing to let us understand the flow of life, so that the ripples of understanding might spread into the ripples of touching one generation after another. In a good way, we invite you to come and be with us and share your graciousness with us again. And face to the west, please. Oh, spirits of the west, we come to you in a good way, with an open heart, with an open mind and an open spirit. And with so much gratitude for your graciousness and all that you have done to bring us to this point in our lives. Thank you for the echoes that you have whispered of unity. Thank you for your voice where you have shouted over the mountaintops of love and compassion and accepting of one another as one indigenous tribe of this earth. We honor you and we thank you for your grace and your compassion. And we invite you to come and know that you're always welcome here in our hearts and our spirits. And come home in a good way, I hope. And face to the north, please. Oh, spirits of the north, to all the spirits and the beings of the wind nation, we thank you. We thank you for generously sharing your breath with us. We thank you for so generously bringing the message and the vibrations and the echoes of the past so that we might hear and understand the directions that will guide us to our greatness. Thank you, Wind Nation, and all that you do and lifting us up to the places that only love knows to take us. Thank you for each and every breath that is shared with us. We honor you, we love you, and we invite you to come and always be with us in this way. And take a deep breath and center yourself. To all the ancestors of the universe, we honor you and we thank you. With all the grace and honor and compassion and respect and love, know that we come to you this day with an open heart and an open mind to receive the grace that you are so freely willing to give to us. And know that we honor you and stand in awe of your love in a good way. Now feed the hungry.
Thank you, Yona. So let's take that that honoring and that gratitude that's so freely given to us and turn that around and look in the chat for the link to feed folks who need, and that's a way of feeding ourselves as well. So. We know this one. If my words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung, would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it dear as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down. The words are broken, perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know, don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air. Ripple in still water where there is no pebble toss, nor wind to blow. What does that mean? What genius that we've been singing this song for over 30 years. It's brilliant. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, may it be again. Let it be known, let it be known, there is a fountain. Yeah, Gabriel, that was not made by the hands of men. Let it be known. Let's do that again. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, may it be again. Let it be known, let it be known, there is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. Can we get that next slide up, please? There is no road, right? No simple highway. There is a road, no simple highway between the dawn and the dark of night. And if you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. That's what you are. Where there is no pebble tossed, no wind to blow. You who choose to lead must follow. But if you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. La la la, la 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 la, la la. We got this part at Jubilee, don't we? La la la, la la la, la la. Uh-oh.
I think I'm up next. Good morning, Jubilee. I'm Teri Sandoval, director of the Jubilee Singers. And today, fate would have it that I'm singing for you myself. When I saw this topic today of grace, I contacted Laura and said, I have a song that changed my understanding of what grace is. And she looked at it and said, yes, I would love you to sing this song for the celebration on that day. So here we go. In the chat coming your way is information on the, I'm sorry, I'm having a slight technical difficulty here. Coming to you, information about this wonderful composer, Elizabeth Alexander. And I want to take a moment to thank the singer's accompanist, Tom Stewart, for continuing to donate his time to play for our community. So here we go.
It's how I hold my head up after I have missed the mark. It's how I know I'm loved when things are dark. It's how I stand when I am feeling small. How I stand again after a fall. It's how I'm even standing here at all. Some people call it grace. Falling down like rain on everyone, so warm. Like greetings from the sun, like a gentle snow. It's making every surface glow. And I know I didn't earn it. That's how I know it's grace. It's how two people stay together through the many years. It's how a broken people sing again. It's how the wounded set aside their blame. How the down and out cast off their shame. It's how I know that holy is my name. We're all the same to grace. Falling down like rain on everyone, so warm. Like greetings from the sun, like a gentle snow. It's making every surface glow. And I know I didn't earn it. No, I didn't have to earn it. I didn't have to earn it through a word or through a deed or through trial or a creed, or by denying what I need. I only had to reach out my hand, and it was there. But still it cannot take away the truth I have to face. Oh no, that's not how it works with grace. Falling down like rain on everyone, so warm, like greetings from the sun, like a gentle snow. It's making every surface glow. And I know I didn't earn it. No, I didn't have to earn it. I didn't have to earn it. That's how I know it's grace.
Thank you, Teri. Whew, already so full, and we're just getting started. As Howard would say, you came on a good day. Came on a good day. Well, we're going to move into a time of prayer, although I think we've already been in a time of prayer. We're going to move into a different kind of prayer. And I want to start by letting folks know that jubilant Keith Calhoun died this week. So we're going to hold Keith in our hearts during our time of prayer. We don't currently have information about a memorial service, but we will let you know if we hear anything about that. As we know, Keith is not the only one to die recently. On Monday night, our president held a vigil for the over 500,000 Americans who have died of the coronavirus so far. That evening, the National Cathedral tolled its bells 500 times, once for each 1,000 people. This came only days after the Mars rover made a perfect landing on the surface of Mars, reminding us what we're capable of when our collaborative ingenuity is called to a purpose that takes more than any of us can accomplish alone. Prayer is another form of collaborative ingenuity, a call for each of us individually to join our hearts in opening to a higher purpose and creating a greater collective energy of light and love than any of us can accomplish alone. In prayer, we consciously seek to awaken not only ourselves, but our whole energetic ecosystem to the beautiful possibilities of healing and joy and grace. Grounding ourselves in Gaia, the mothering, birthing power of this incarnate realm, and opening ourselves to the power, the healing power of the living Christ presence, that realm of resurrection energy. We allow these realms to meet in our own hearts, cleansing our vision that we may see with the eye of the heart. So we're going to take some time now to sing our bowls. If you have a bowl, you can ring it. I actually am not in my own home and forgot to bring my bowl, so I'm going to be ringing my empty cup. Not even sure you can hear that. And to let it be filled. So let's take some time to sing our bowls. If you've got prayer beads, you may want to work through your prayer beads as we allow the vibration of the bowls to bring us into that balance and transformative joy as we offer ourselves as living prayers on behalf of all creation. Let's join in silent prayer, in singing prayer, in meditative prayer. Holy, 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 holy. We invite the holiness that is all around us, that is within us, to light our hearts, light our eyes, light our path, and to shine out, to bring the healing grace more and more into our own lives and into the lives of all. For those who are grieving, for those who are giving thanks, for the places on earth in need of healing, for the places in our hearts in need of healing. We give ourselves to this task. Let us be living prayers. Holy, holy, grace-filled living prayers. Amen.
So let's sing together and chat folks up in the chat. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the steepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of love. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of love. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. Our souls are feeling pretty ready, I would have to say.
I hope so.
In the spirit of grace, I invite you to hear these ancient words. Do not judge, so that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye, while the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. This is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. All creation is wisdom and holy word. All creation sings of wisdom and God. Hallelujah. Breathe deeply. So today we get to hear from a familiar face that has been drumming and making beautiful noise in Jubilee for over 10 years as a member of the World Beat Band. We're going to be hearing the meditation today from Charley Castex, who is a spiritual guide, an intuitive, and the author of the new book, Expand Your Spiritual Bandwidth. So with great honor, I'm pleased to introduce our own Charley Castex. Charley?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. It's an absolute pleasure to be with my tribe and to share. And especially this theme of grace is really close to my heart. So I was going to say drum roll, please, but obviously I'm usually the guy or one of the guys that provides the drum rolls. So no drum roll today, but it's beautiful. So again, thank you for having me. As we're venturing into this inexplicable phenomenon today called grace, I'd like to start with just defining our terms in a typical academic fashion. So in that sense, according to Webster's linguistic intelligentsia that we all seem to live by, the first definition of grace is as simple elegance, as in she swam through the water with effortless grace. The second definition is courteous goodwill. Well, that's not the version of grace I'm going to share with you guys today. The version of grace we're going to enter into today is divine grace, and divine grace is a really juicy subject. And being that we're jubilants, divine grace is naturally our target. That's what we're after. So let's take aim. All right. If you ask folks to define divine grace versus the garden variety grace, they're likely just going to go slack-jawed. And they may even seek an exit strategy, or they may offer up a kind of non-explanation by saying, well, divine grace is just a foggy abstraction that defies comprehension. Why should we even bother? As in, it's unknowable. But the cool thing is grace is undeniable when we experience it. It raises the hair on the back of our necks. It softens that stiffness in the shoulders. And it even cures heartburn. And a little dab will do you. So as we venture into grace, let's consider the words of Rabindranath Tagore, who was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. His phrases and words have been bouncing around in the Jubilee services lately, and I love it. So he famously said, "The winds of grace are always blowing. It is you that must raise your sail." This we can do. What are those sails? The sales are the five senses. The five senses of sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. And if we sufficiently attenuate and sharpen those senses, a sixth sense of subtle perception rises up to the surface. And we can call that the ability to tune into the perception that grace abides. If we listen, look, feel, and focus within, then we just may have a spontaneous encounter with grace. Back in 1997, all the way back in 1997, I had a very profound dream. And that dream played out in a premonition. I saw a man standing in a desert landscape with a posture suggesting that he was pulling something out of the sky. In his hands were clutched little wooden dowels, and there were strings stretching out into the clouds. And upon closer inspection, I realized, wow, that was my spiritual teacher of the time, Maharaji, also known as Prem Rawat. So fair enough, I had this beautiful dream. Well, the next morning, I was invited to a video event at UNCA of Maharaji's teachings. So I get to the university, they start the video presentation, and as you might imagine, there's Maharaji, first screen, out in the Australian outback, flying this immense kite against very fierce winds. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a cosmic heads up for me. That's an act of grace for me to realize that. And it was very personal and profound, and so much so that I chose to name my company that was creating the audio reproductions of my guidance events, Grace Kite Productions. And that stuck with me for years. That was my DBA. Around that same time, I was doing guidance sessions at what used to be called the Greater View Bookstore. Many of you Ashevilleans will know that metaphysical center from back in the day. And after a full day of guidance sessions, I was going to take a break. I stepped outside, I closed my eyes. All of a sudden, I felt this spontaneous feeling of fulfillment just wash over me. There was like a radiance that just glowed in my chest. And I felt all this bliss welling up from inside of me. And I thought, with my eyes still closed, I thought, what is this feeling? I said it to my heart, I said it to spirit. When I closed my eyes, 1 beat later, I opened my eyes. A massive truck with letters on it the size of a billboard that said grace. As soon as I'd opened my eyes, this grace truck went by. So we've got grace kites, we've got grace trucks. Pretty amazing. And I realized to myself after these two experiences, I thought, okay, that's it. Grace is getting my attention. And I started signing all my correspondences and all my letters, Grace Always. And some people thought that was a little strange, but I think most people loved it because that postscript underscores an eternal aspiration, an effort, if you will, to remain in grace always. And it's the effort that counts. In my Catholic school upbringing, our primary prayers were rather binary. So we had a masculine yang Our Father prayer. We had the yin feminine Hail Mary prayer. Almost all of us know that prayer. I think safe to say all of us do know the prayer. Hail Mary, full of grace. We generally have no trouble accepting that Mary was full of grace. But here's a relevant question to ask yourself. Are you full of it? Grace, that is. Are you full of grace? Because Mary's full of grace. She's not full of something else, such as arrogance or fear or boredom. Being full implies that there isn't any room for hot air. If we're stuffed to the gills with the good stuff, there's no room for dross and doubt just maximum capacity grace. That's what we got when we're full of grace. So it begs the question, can an empowered person be chronically consumed by feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and dread? In my experience, not. No way, man. Because an empowered person doesn't indulge pathetic ponderings. They have positivity on the brain most of the time. Most of the time. And at any rate, there's only so much bandwidth of attention to go around, so we best look skyward. Your core values either propel you forward and upward, or they subconsciously haunt you. You'll feel haunted if you reference ideals in your head, but you refuse to embody those ideals. And we don't want to go that route. The route we're going in is towards gravitating towards an embodiment of grace and embodying empowerment. Because that's where grace hangs out. A life filled with grace is actually a high resolution life. It's a life that musician Pat Metheny might refer to as a bright size life. In the yogic culture, which many of us are familiar with in the Jubilee community, or at least to some degree, there's this beautiful catchphrase that's ascribed to enlightened ones or awakened ones, and it's called Enchi, E-N-C-H-I, Enchi. Now, Enchi translates as being round, not rotund, but round. And you folks know that I'm blessed to be the percussionist with the Jubilee World Beat Band. So as a drummer, I understand really well the world of round cylinders with skins stretched tightly over them, hit with sticks, are dependent upon that cylinder staying in round. If your drum is in round, then it's, you have a heck of a time trying to keep it in tune to make a beautiful tone. So Enchi means being friction-free. If we think about it, a circle has the least amount of motion resistance of any geometric form. That's why the wheel became so popular. So in the same sense, if we can smooth off our rough edges and stay round, we roll past our stressors. Another curious way to conceive of grace is as anti-gravity. You could think of an apple tree, for instance. Its fruit obviously falls with gravity. But how amazing is it that the tree actually grows against gravity? That structure that produces the fruit grows against gravity. Now that's grace. Most folks these days, especially these days, are getting blown about by challenging circumstances, blown about like tumbleweeds. But one antidote to overwhelm is to become more anchored in lightness by putting on those anti-gravity boots. And as such, we can tether ourselves to both trust and surrender. Surrender not as in resignation, surrender as in opening, widening. And if we can do that, we become more circular and less damn edgy. It's a good thing. Now, gathering grace is a process. It's an incremental process of what Joseph Campbell referred to as becoming transparent to transcendence. And isn't that something worth shooting for? Grace, if given the chance, becomes our teleporter to transcendence. And let's remember that the thoughts that we have, the feelings that we have, they're not exactly who we are. They're not even how it is. Those thoughts and feelings that we're often troubled by are really only how we are being, our state of being. So the objective is to gain liftoff in that teleporter to transcendence. Great question, of course, is how? How? Not by just rounding up, but also by being grateful. Because grace, as Reverend Laura suggested, makes grace go supernova. Gratitude makes grace go supernova. And that's because grace and gratitude share a very profound inverse relationship. They're like kissing cousins of the spiritual kind. So if we practice being grateful, we find grace is our ever-present sidekick. We begin lightening up instead of tightening up. And how great is that? So most of us imagine becoming enlightened, becoming full of grace, as some kind of Herculean, superhuman task. But all the evidence suggests that getting enlightened is nothing compared to staying enlightened, staying full of grace. And staying full of light, full of grace is a seriously ambitious gig. That's a seriously ambitious gig. So back to those winds of grace that are always blowing. Grace is essentially a phenomenon of attunement. What we're after here is to attune to life with mind, body, and spirit. And grace, one of its super cool qualities is it has the best cost-benefit ratio of just about any commodity going. Because the only thing one has to invest to experience grace is receptivity. We show up, we become receptive. And as Woody Allen said, that's 50% of success. So grace requires an invitation, it requires an invocation, and it begs to be wooed. In the Bible, there's this popular, very powerful saying, many are called, but few are chosen. And I'm not denying that assertion, but I personally feel that many are called, but few have chosen comes closer to the truth territory for me. So if that's true, a quantum potential exists. And the quantum potential that exists is in choosing to evolve yourself. Our intention to evolve is both a radical choice and it's a rare responsibility. And evolution is quite literally creation's quest for us to become more than we presently are. And if we're questing towards evolution, we're making space for grace. We make space for grace by bookending our days. That's what I like to call it. We bookend our day by beginning and ending the day with inner reflection, inquiring within, checking in consistently to see what condition our condition is in. And you'll know you're embodying grace when animals and babies and the elderly stop in their tracks and they do a double take and smile at you. We make space for grace by choosing love over fear. The future over the past. Ease over dis-ease. By forming connection over separation. And by relinquishing our resistance to life. And if we do this really well, everything clicks into grace. Here's a few words from Jordan Peterson, who's a philosopher extraordinaire. What if it was the case that the world revealed whatever goodness it contains in precise proportion to your desire for the best? What if the more your conception of the best has been elevated, expanded, and rendered sophisticated, the more possibility you could perceive? Now, this doesn't mean that you can have what you want merely by wishing it, or that everything is interpretation, or that there is no reality. The world is still there with its limits, and it's structured. And as you move along with it, it either cooperates or it objects. But you can dance with it if your aim is to dance. And you may be able to even lead if you have enough skill and grace. So back to the gospel according to Charley. So grace truly is amazing. After all, it facilitates the silent return of each breath. After each exhale, the breath returns. And we can imagine that there are candles burning somewhere in a deserted church. Now that's grace at work. Somewhere there's candles burning in a deserted church. And if you guys have tried everything and you're still not feeling it, here's a fail-safe hack. Try falling in love with love. Embrace grace by raising your sails. Let yourself be carried away on the winds of grace, always. Thank you. Listen.
It appears we all sailed away on that one.
I guess we did.
Good job, Charley. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Charley. That was really super cool. I think we have some. I think Jubilee has been in action. We have some candles burning because we're not completely deserted around there, but we have been in action. I think Michelle is going to tell us about that.
I don't see Michelle. I think maybe something happened with her. So,
Michelle.
No, it's okay. I just couldn't unmute in the beginning.
Okay.
And the host has finally let me unmute, so I have that grace. Thank you, Charley, for those beautiful words and those images. That image of a candle burning in a deserted church really felt very intense to me. So, Jubilee in action. The Racial Equity Book Club is reading Caste. If you are interested in joining the discussion, please contact Melody LeBaron. More racial equity news, Melody's email address, and links to the following stories are all on the Jubilee in Action page of our website, the newsletter, and in chat. So you should be able to find them pretty easily. On March 12th through 14th, Story Medicine Worldwide is holding their 10th anniversary celebration, focusing on storytelling's role in racial healing. The 3-day online event includes stories, songs, and breakout rooms to share your own stories. Maida Commerce will sing and speak on opening day. Don't forget about Kathryn Davis's Divine Dance Parties on Thursdays at 11 and Mondays at 6. Barefoot boogieing on Zoom with Kathryn the Grateful is definitely good for the soul. And finally, be on the lookout next Tuesday for an invitation to the All Ya All Challenge, a 3-week campaign to see how many folks you can invite to next week's Sunday celebration. And that's it for Jubilee in Action today.
Thanks so much, Michelle. And I am also putting a link in the chat for a webinar that I did just a couple of days ago, and it's going to be I'm going to leave the recording up until midnight tonight. And what it is actually a way to to raise your sails to the winds of grace and to take your next evolutionary steps through piano improvisation. And the problem and the possibility is that it's not really about the piano. The highway isn't that simple. And it's about 45 minutes long. And if you take me up on the offer at the end to learn to improvise on the piano in all 12 keys in 1 hour, which will be scheduled in the next week or so, 25% of that fee will go to Jubilee. So I just wanted you to know about that. Did I put the link in there? Yeah, the link is there. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. My blue boat home. My blue boat home.
Thank you, Daniel. What a wonderful message from Charley today. It's definitely worth a rewatch to just soak it all in. So it's a beautiful day, Jubilants. What a great day to get out there and experience the miracles of grace all around us and within us. So as we go out into this week and into breakout rooms, I encourage you to just ponder this thought from our much beloved and often quoted Anne Lamott. Howard frequently quoted her in with this particular phrase. I do not understand the mystery of grace, only that it meets us where we are and does not leave us where it found us. May you be transported this week by the mystery of grace, and tell us about it when we next see each other. Amen. And oh yeah. And let's break out.
And let's open up the mics. Unmute
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
If you're
It's
muted,
that.
I think you can unmute yourself now and we can make a holy cacophony. Can we hear everybody? Oh yeah. I love it. Count me out.
Oh no.
Not allowing. How come everybody else
For
can?
the glory
of the sky.
from the love which from our birth over and around us lies, over and around us lies. Lord of all
To thee praise.
is a joyful music of praise. Let's do that one more time because it's just so gorgeous. For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, over and around us lies. Lord of all,
To thee praise.
this a joyful
This ever joyful
gift.